Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we are going to be talking about business inclusion, specifically around getting started as investors and fundraising for your startup, and why this is such an important topic now more than ever as we look here at 2021. We've got more individuals starting businesses, and maybe the business environment has changed a little bit as well. And maybe the traditional routes are no longer there, and there's more opportunities than you could imagine for fundraising or to begin your journey as an investor as well. Well, we've brought together some outstanding investors from around the world to share their thoughts and insights and on the ground perspective around today's topic to help you get educated if you're either looking to begin investing or also raising a little capital for the company idea, product, or service that you may have. And if you'd like to be on a show like today's, as those guests we're about to introduce here in just a moment, reach out to the team and or myself, either as an investor or as an entrepreneur. We'll find the right spot for you. Speaking of team, a big thank you to the LaToken team and to Maria and Hasmic for making VCTV possible every single day. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and introduce today's guest. Panel as well. And Adrian, welcome back. First up today, a little intro, a little background for everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Kyle, for the invitation. I'm Adrian Niculescu, a serial entrepreneur and investor. My genius zones are marketing, sales, and business development, and I love keeping my hands dirty in these areas. Besides my advisory roles and board member slots, I'm involved in few projects. Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator incubator for startups. Sara Global Ventures, a UK-based venture capital firm. And also I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups program in UK. Happy to be here and to contribute.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wendy Diamond, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen.
You're so funny.
There's only one.
I was like, oh my gosh, you didn't introduce me well. Now you are. Thank you so much. Thank you. Woohoo! Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone at VCTV. Woohoo! This is one of my favorite topics in the world because inclusion is all what I'm about. It's all about supporting the underdog. My name is Wendy Diamond. I founded Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization that is celebrated around the world in 144 countries. We are partners with NASDAQ, Google for Startups, and we are empowering women in business to alleviate poverty. And so we work with governments, business leaders, civil society to collaborate to find solutions to uplift women in business. I'm also a limited partner in 3 funds focused on disruptive technologies and Bitcoin. And of these 3 funds, I bring all the business inclusion, but also impact, right? So I'm all about how do we start funding more women entrepreneurs because only 2% of money is going towards the women founders in America. So it's really ridiculous. And we got to bring that number up. And I'm also an investor in 22 startups in the impact and women founded space. And I love supporting them with all my amazing network around the world. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you as well, Wendy. Gary Fowler, Grandmaster of Artificial Intelligence, the one and only as well. Welcome back. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Yeah, as Wendy would say, woo! That's great to be here and great to see my friends, you, Kyle, Wendy, Adrian. It's great to be here. So my name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur, an investor. I've done 17 companies. Love AI and quantum computing. I just got a notice that my article just went up on Forbes on cognitive cloud computing. Literally just went up. So love to write. I've written 123 articles about AI and quantum. I'm the CEO and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studios working with companies from all over the world to make the world a bit of a better place. And I've done 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, a premier AI HR tech company founded with billionaire David Yang, who is originally from Russia, living in Silicon Valley. And I'm great to be here. I'm glad to see friends and look forward to the show.
Wonderful. Happy to have all of you. And for those tuning in for the first time, we've got a new feature. We're streaming everywhere. Super exciting, which we're trying to include more and more and help provide education and insight to more around the world. So guess what? New feature this week and this week only. Not really. We're going to have this all the time. But new feature is if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comments box. I'll do my best to ask them in real time. If not, we're all available 24/7, 365. Offline or online, since we live our lives more digitally than ever on social media. So with that, Wendy, why don't you kick us off? I mean, your mission, one of your missions is to include more, to do more in life, whether it's through investing or helping founders to bring in more and include them in the world, again, either as investors or as founders to companies. What are you doing? What are you seeing? And why is this such an important thing now in 2021 more than ever?
Well, I think about what we've all realized, right? Like the statistics actually show this, and why I created Women's Entrepreneurship Day in 2013 is literally women have been, underfunded, underrepresented. So, we need to really bring awareness towards this issue. And that was why I created this official day in the world, because I knew that it would bring awareness and people would start talking about it. And as you see today, we have some of the biggest companies in the world. They all have women's initiatives within their companies. You've got funds now, huge funds, like my friend Jenny Abramson, who has Rethink Impact, just raised $180 million. UBS is one of her biggest funders to support women founders. We see this, Linnea Roberts with Gingerbread Capital, who, she worked at Goldman Sachs as a partner for 25 years, launched Gingerbread Capital. So like, there's all these, everybody's realizing why it's so important to invest in women. And I think this is the big thing. When I started Women's Entrepreneurship Day, I learned, ended up in Honduras on vacation, and I ended up volunteering for an organization that provided microloans to poor women. And that whole experience, I did all my research after experiencing that. And we probably all heard of, Muhammad Yunus, who, won the Nobel Peace Prize for launching Grameen. But, literally these women are receiving microloans, $100, and paying them back at a 98% rate, right? I hate to say this, men a lot lower, and 90% of the money women earn goes back to educating their children and providing for the families, which uplifts the entire communities, right? And women literally perform 66% of the world's work, but they're only earning 10% of the income. So all these statistics and like more about, women are the decision makers in the households. I mean, they're making 85% of the consumer purchases. They control 20 trillion in worldwide spending. So how are we not making more, and having more money to be invested in these women founders who really understand the market? And that was like one of the reasons why I decided to launch Women's Entrepreneurship Day. And, when we think about, right now, I think, with COVID and the pandemic and everything, people really want to know, where is their money going? What are they eating? What are they buying? All this stuff. And when you think about it, women are the ones that are like, we want a healthier life. We want to, have our children to be healthier, live longer lives, etc. So it's important, I think, that we recognize the importance of funding women. And by the way, McKinsey just did a study, I think it was like last year or something, and they found when 30% of women are in executive positions in companies, those companies are more profitable. So, I think what you're seeing right now is a lot more an increase in visibility to understand the importance of why we must empower women in business, but also invest in women. So that's my whole thing. And as I'm in about 10 companies right now from women founders, and all of which are, in their next rounds and doing really well.
Congratulations and wonderful news. And Gary, thank you, Wendy. Gary, I want to come to you. Anything to add on to Wendy's points? And then opening up the floor, I mean, you've started a few funds focused around inclusion and to the underserved markets from an investment standpoint. Kind of what made you do this, and why is this now more important than ever as well? And Adrian, I'll come to you next. Then I want to get to why technology and how technology is playing a role. But Gary, start us off.
The whole premise for GSD is intellectual capacity is evenly spread, but opportunities aren't. So the entire founding of our company is based on that. So I can tell you this morning, I've been on conference calls with African entrepreneurs and Nigeria specifically today. So what we see is you know, when you go out and you bring the technology, I mean, Google has a initiative, a diversity initiatives, and part of it is business inclusion. And one of the things is when you bring companies, you bring the technology out, you bring the opportunities out, you create events, you start to draw people from everywhere. It's interesting, Kyle. I mean, it's so I actually have my first female African entrepreneur who's a Zulu out of South Africa. And that's what we want. We want to see more and more. The key is getting the word out. So with GSD, what we do is we get the word out. I started in Russia. One of the things we did is we actually had female, we purposely went out and wanted to have 50% of our classes in our academy as female entrepreneurs. Some of those female entrepreneurs have had incredible success. But I got to tell you, the other side is trying to get them to come out. It wasn't so easy sometimes in the beginning to find them. I had to use friend networks, etc. So it wasn't like they were coming out in droves originally. But so part of it is getting the word out. And then, you know, one success breeds 10 more people coming out and being interested in it. So it's getting the word out. And I see it all over the world. I mean, we work in Indonesia. We work all over Asia, Singapore. We've got an office literally around the planet. So the African, Asian continent. And it's getting the word out. It's like, you know, Nikola Tesla said that it's really the democratization of opportunity. And look at Starlink, right? We're looking now to bring the internet around the world. Is it going to solve everything, all the challenge we have? No. But the more people that have access, even if it's with a mobile phone, is a greater chance that they're going to be able to learn. The greater chance they're going to be plugged into what's happening. Because, you know, as I've said many times, there are going to be people that, two classes of people, the people that understand the data and can manage it, and the people that can't. And as we keep going through this infobesity, it's getting worse. So what we need to do is level the playing field more. The pandemic has helped. Here we are, Kyle, on VCTV, on StreamYard, broadcasting around the world. I have people reaching out to me personally from literally everywhere. And it's really interesting because you've opened up a gate and provided the knowledge for them to be able to understand what's happening, how they can participate, and who to contact in order to go to the next level. So education is critically important. When I started my startup academy in the beginning, I had 3 people attend. This is in Russia. 3 people attend. I started with Lawrence Wright. And by the end of it, our largest event had over 2,500 people. 2,500. So you go from a little tiny initiative within a year to be able to change the world. I think that same kind of initiative, I think that reaching out, just like we're doing here today, is really the key, because you need to know what opportunities are out there and how to bring them in.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I want to come over to Adrian next on that. Adrian, anything to add on to Gary's or Wendy's points as well to further why business inclusion or investor inclusion is so important more than ever now?
Based on where I'm coming from, I'm from Romania. Romania is a small, beautiful country in Eastern Europe, and this part of the world, at least in theory, but also in practice, is underserved from a venture capital point of view, from access to mentors, to resources. Things have changed over the past few years, and things are going better and better, but there is still a gap between what is available here and what is available in other markets. One thing which is pretty cool in Romania is that I believe we are in the top 10 from the speed of internet point of view, and rarely I can find elsewhere in the world the quality of the internet we have in Romania, which is a basic commodity, and it's very cheap these days. So this helped a lot the advancement. Actually, because there are so many opportunities in this part of the world which are, as I said, underserved, I was starting at the beginning of this year to create a fund for companies the companies which are struggling actually, so they make an income, they are in the market, so are not just ideas on papers, and they want to scale and develop, and this is in works right now. And basically the next big thing, and it's an idea, and I believe in this idea, can come from anywhere. Gary mentioned a lot about Africa. Africa has a big surge of technology entrepreneurs, and people are very savvy, are pretty hardworking. So they work until they collapse to sleep without breaks, and the future will reward not necessarily hard workers, but the hard workers which are also working smart. And because the pandemic ceased a lot of traveling, we have platforms like this one, and which is a pretty available education system. Now it's a system, it's a community. And as said, the next big thing can come from anywhere, and we just need to find those people, those projects, and to help them with anything we can to succeed.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I mean, how does technology playing a role, and how does technology maybe opening up some of these doors for those looking to invest or those looking to start companies? And Wendy, I saw you unmuted first, so I'm going to come to you. I mean, how is technology playing a role?
Well, first of all, I love Romania, first of all, because, we are partner, my foundation, as I mentioned, we are all over the world, and we're partners with the Romanian National Confederation for Female Entrepreneurs, which is the biggest organization in Romania. And I kind of talking about technology. I mean, you never would ever, I mean, in the last decade, we've been so blessed, right? Because of the fact that we are able to just quickly do this and connect with everyone worldwide. And and one thing I'd like to say is, now is the opportunity better than ever. I mean, you look at, like, we've got women unicorns. I mean, I hear I'm going women again. We got two guys, they can talk about all the other stuff. But I'll go back into saying the fact, like, I think with technology and with blockchain and everything, it's an equal playing game right now, right? It's like back 1,000 years ago, we needed you guys, the men, to lift and build and, do everything because you guys had the strength, right? But now it's all in our heads. We can now compete on an equal level. And that's what we're seeing right now, where you're seeing some of the most incredible tech entrepreneurs are women. Look at Whitney, who we work with closely on, all the fun, all my investments as well. Whitney is the founder of Bumble. I mean, she's now self-made billionaire. How did she do that? She worked, of course, at Tinder before that, but learned all the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff, and said, you know what, there's something wrong here, and then brought out to the world Bumble. So you think about, this never would have happened before, right? And now today we have the ability and enabling with all the technologies, whether this is, using blockchain, whether it's using AI, whether it's using, whatever, quantum computing, anything, we can all have a fair share in creating companies. And I think that's one of the key things, that we all have to educate, because, we don't have in history a lot of women who, are graduating with science degrees and engineering degrees and et cetera, right? And now you're seeing that, but it's also about bringing awareness. So when they're in college and when they're applying for colleges, that they realize they can do it, but bringing awareness about women that they can look up to and emulate. And I think that's the key to the whole game. And I think that's what's happening right now around the world, where you're seeing all these different groups. And, like I just mentioned about the group we're partnered with in Romania, is that these kind of, opportunities bring awareness. And that's what we need to do. Bring awareness to the fact that you can do anything in this world. You know what? And it's out there, and there's partnerships and collaborations, and everybody in the world is interested now in doing so, which is, I think, important, because we've all realized, okay, here are the statistics, we have to change it, right?
So agreed. And it's for everybody, right? I mean, of everywhere, anywhere in the world. I mean, this is now the time, right? Everyone has or should the opportunity to have the equal opportunity, pardon me, to jump in either as an investor, right? We've seen things here in the United States change, allowing individuals to have more freedom on the types of investments they make. And then in terms of access to education, as Adrian mentioned, and along with Gary and yourself, is we have things here like VCTV, shameless plug, but true, and so many other wonderful shows out there. You've got podcasts, you've got audio, you've got YouTube, you've got everything to learn now how to build a business or how to integrate technology, which, Gary, let's go a layer deep. How is technology playing a role in this? How is technology and some of the ease of access opening up these gates for really anyone to build a company easier and faster than ever?
Well, I was on the phone with Nigeria this morning, and the problem is they've got unstable access to the internet. And so part of it is bringing the technology. So why I'm really bullish about Starlink is because finally having those capabilities evenly distributed. And, if you read Nikola Tesla back in the late 1800s and the wireless transmission of electricity, we start to understand how better the world could be. And so it's, part of it is having the ability to be able to communicate. So it's not about not having it, to be able to watch a VCTV, to watch shows, to be part of pitching competitions, etc. You need to be integrated. This shirt I have on, right, is I was a judge of PayPal in Russia. And this was in the early days of a startup academy. So bringing those kind of opportunities over, and it's not just women entrepreneurs, it's a Black community too. I mean, we don't see a lot of Black CEOs of companies, right? Tech companies in the Valley. And, Kyle, I've been working on this for 14 years. So, and we're building a $100 million fund out of Atlanta specifically for that, because you don't see a lot of Black entrepreneurs. As I said, I mean, one of the things that we do is we look for those entrepreneurs and help curate them to help them build their unicorn. And it's kind of funny, as I've said many times, you're building something. A unicorn is a mythical creature. What we do is we want to make it real. We have to teach them it's possible. A lot of times what happens with these entrepreneurs, they don't believe they can do it because they are, and it's far out, they're in Africa, on the continent of Africa, or they're in Asia, or Indonesia inside of it. And it's really to bring that opportunity to them and make it become real. So one thing that we do is, education is number one, and creating a sense of community around the world, just like VCs have been doing since February last year. This is the way it's done. And at the same time, you give people hope. Hope is really important when you're building a company. Thinking positive, the glass is half full and not half empty. So all those kind of things, and then the access to incredible folks, just like we have Wendy here and Adrian, yourself, Kyle, to be able to give them ideas and directions to be able to help grow their companies, because it's hard to do it in a vacuum. If you really want to create a company on the global stage, you need to have trust, support, and a network.
Sure, and I agree. Let me reframe the question. I want to get to the nitty gritty. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, how has it been changed so that anybody in the world can now start building with AI? I mean, AI used to be very complex. Not many people could work with it. How has it changed such that anyone in the world can start building with AI? What tools, what things, trends, what do you see?
So, I mean, there's models out there that have been developed that are standard models. It's like plugins, right? So if you want to build something, you have modules to be able to build it. So in the very simplest terms, those modules now exist that didn't exist 15 years ago. When I got involved with AI, I was doing a project back. It was called Artificial Intelligence, Ops 5 and Lisp, back in the late 80s, early 90s. So it was different. Now you've got technologies out there. So when we built our unsupervised AI models, we used existing models that were out there to be able to create something innovative and different. So the difference is there. The other thing is technology is finally at the right level, Kyle. We're finally at the right level with the hardware, where we have a MacBook or Mac desktop, where we have incredible processing power that we didn't have 2 years ago, to be able to run those particular AI models, those algorithms, the clusterization, variational autoencoders, ladder networks, all those kind of things we just didn't have. So one is the models, two is the technology is finally up to speed. Now we've got 5G and to be able to communicate in all kinds of different ways remotely. We've got the Internet of Things. We've got the foundation, the platform to be able to get to that level. So it doesn't look at it. I mean, my companies are in Africa, right? In Nigeria. I don't have to be in Nigeria. I've never met them in person. Yet at the same time, when we communicate via Zoom, when what they send me information over their decks, or we start reviewing their technology, I can do it instantaneously. A year and a half ago, we didn't think about it that way because we had this kind of befuddled mind that we had to go there. Oh, I'll see you in about 2 months. Let's sit down and we'll have a 2-day meeting, and we forget about it. Now it's instantaneous. And the beauty of, so from my perspective, the technologies that are helping us, the Zooms of the world has been an incredible leap forward. 5 years ago, when I first got on Zoom and I would send out a link, people said, why are you sending this out to me? I'm already on Skype. I don't need it. And I said, because this is really cool shit, is exactly what I said. And so we got on it. And I remember how much clearer it was than anything else in the market. And then look at it now. There's like 400 million users. Those kind of technologies allow us to do the collaboration. Those kind of technologies allow us to level the playing field. Just like StreamYard, Kyle. I mean, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I didn't know about StreamYard, and then I started to use it. I mean, look at it. You can broadcast anywhere to anybody, literally, that's got a device anytime. These are the technologies working in, I presented in Braun and Cluj, by the way, Adrian. So I actually was a keynote speaker in both of those cities for the Romanian Software Association. And, we need to bring more of that. I went over twice, but, had to fly in, then I had to drive down. I flew into Bucharest and, went down. Now I can do it in a moment's notice. You want to do an event tomorrow, you can do it tomorrow.
Right. Well, and exactly. And I mean, even things like no code solutions, allowing people to click and within a few clicks, and not to, talk down on it, but within a few clicks, you can actually have an application running very quickly as well. I mean, these are the things. Yeah. I mean, when I started a company, my first company, I had to build everything from scratch, literally.
Those are the models to be able to use those modular models to be able to do it easily. Not saying you're going to have, that's 80% of it, right? But the other 20%, when you start working on unsupervised AI and VAE, it's a little bit different, but at least it's a foundation to get started. And part of it is looking, and so in Lagos in Nigeria right now, we've got AI Saturdays, right? Where they sit down and they have groups of people get together. You have some of the most incredible entrepreneurs in the world that get together and share ideas. Is it easy? No. But then they go to Coursera, they take courses at Stanford, they take courses at MIT, female entrepreneurs, right, to get up to speed. Because guess what? You can make a lot of money. If you don't even start a company as an AI engineer, you can make $1 million a year, right? It's a lot of money depending on the level.
Right. Well, and I mean, things like Shopify and Etsy also created instant marketplaces for individuals with a few clicks, and you've got a storefront, right? This is the kind of stuff that I think some people tend to miss, is that it's not always as complex as it seems to start a company, an app, or even a website, or just get you started with your idea than it used to be. There's more opportunities to just click and go. I mean, you want to start a newsletter, go to Substack, boom, 2 clicks and you've got a newsletter and you can reach many individuals. You want to start an app.
You can build a website, right? It used to be a pain in the rear end to build a website. I remember taking basic programming in college. It was a pain. I remember using Herman Hollerith cards. When I was in graduate school, I had to use cards because they were outdated. And it was nuts,
Right. Well, and I mean, to Adrian and Wendy, I mean, I want to come to both of you around blockchain. I mean, blockchain itself, right now, there are tons of companies. I've seen about 40, 50, maybe 60 different companies that offer platforms that through a few clicks and a little bit more work, but through a few clicks, you can get started building an application that's leveraging blockchain technology. I mean, we've got NFT markets that are exploding right now, and through a few clicks, you can have your own NFT, a non-fungible token, something that's out there. I mean, how have you both seen the world change because technology has opened up in this? I would love to hear some examples if you have any of those types of technologies. Adrian, why don't we kick it off with you? I mean, you're in the digital currency space. You're talking about this on a regular basis. Tell us a little bit more of how that area of the world has changed to allow for more individuals to have access and to build on.
Of course, we see more cryptocurrencies than ever being launched. I always say, look at what's behind them, not to be like some dust in the air. I see a lot of shift in applications which are moved from Ethereum to Binance Chain. Binance Chain is the next big thing, and the pretty surprise in 2021, and I wouldn't say the clone of Uniswap, but a similar model with Uniswap is PancakeSwap, where the fees are much lower. There's a huge problem with Ethereum fees these days. If you want to, if I don't know, for like say a regular person wanting to purchase, let's say $50 worth of tokens from Uniswap, sometimes the fee is $80, which is crazy. And it's a reality. And there are many models which are built either on Binance Chain or on Polkadot, which are leveraging the access to less expensive fees. And those markets are more and more accessible to non-technical people because you can build a lot of stuff with no-code solutions or with low-code solutions. So you don't have to be a coder to build something, at least until an MVP stage or something like that, which opens opportunities like never before. But, and there is a but here, you need to put the effort, and everybody wants to succeed, but very few people want to actually put the effort to learn something new, to remove the old habits, to remove the old patterns or the old knowledge, which doesn't help. And the difference, no matter if we have all these resources, the difference will be made between the ones who are doers and will pay the price to make it happen, and the ones who will just remain binging at home, looking at this and that, and not doing anything with these resources. So the big difference will be here, but we are living extraordinary times from this point of view. Unfortunately, we only have 24 hours. Gosh.
We do. I mean, again, from my experience, this has never been a better time. You don't want to build something, you want to learn something, you want to start investing. This is the time. There are more opportunities than ever, truly, to do all of these things. And Wendy, would love to hear any comments you have on Adrian or Gary's point, but also furthermore, blockchain or other technologies, how these have changed for so many, whether it's, with the women that you work with in your organization, or it's just the companies that you've invested in, how these technologies have just really allowed for more individuals to start building on them.
Right. I mean, so, with our foundation, like in Zimbabwe, for instance, our ambassador there is the CEO of EcoCash. It's the second largest bank, right? And with them, what we were able to do is work with another company that I'm also invested in, actually, is called Bancor. And they were, I don't know if you remember this, but they were one of the most successful launches of their token and their protocol. And literally, it makes it super easy to convert, into, tokens without having to go through an exchange, right? So you have all these incredible women out there that are really getting into this space, but also role models for everybody to realize, like, wow, we can get in there. Microsoft just launched a whole initiative to support women in blockchain and offering all of that. And so I think that what we're going to see in the future is more and more opportunities and more, unicorns, let's hope, that are women, because I think that's the most important thing to see that. And I'd like to also bring out the fact that we cannot forget the largest minority in the world, if we're talking about inclusion, right, which is disabled people. And I think it's like thinking about history and everything. This is an opportunity now for them, because a lot of times they're not able to go to work and et cetera. So there's a lot more opportunities where people are realizing now that they can actually, do the same thing at home that the people used to have to go to work. So there's giving them more opportunities of jobs, et cetera. But also, our foundation is launching a whole initiative right now. We're going to be announcing it for International Women's Day on the 8th of March, is that we're going to be funding a whole program to support women with disabilities in entrepreneurship. And so we'll be taking 5 winners of this whole event that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be funding them. And we've got 2 board members of our foundation that have decided to fund them. And those are going to be grants. So that's not even like we're getting equity or anything. So it's, I think it's like these little initiatives bringing awareness to these certain things with women and disabilities and et cetera, is just going to be a tipping point of more and more people realizing how we need to start investing and with including everybody in this space.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tipping point, right? This is where things start to really change, and hopefully for the better. And we'd love to come to each of you for your closing thoughts on really where we go from here, and really maybe a big prediction for how the worlds of investing and fundraising change in 2020 more than they already have. And Gary, let's start with you, and then of course where everyone can find you and your fund and your shows that you may have to plug to continue the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing today was really good, Kyle, because I didn't think about using the low code, no code, Microsoft Power App type solutions with these different groups that we're dealing with. But you're right, spot on, and you gave me a really good idea, and I want to appreciate that, because we do have limited resources, and they need to develop things very, very quickly. And so this is really, so I want to tell you, I thank you for that. I'm really excited because of the democratization of opportunity that's taken place so far. Are we out of the woods yet? No. Do we have a lot of work to do? Yes. But the one thing, because of this digital transformation that's taken place over the last year, is that we really do look at things differently. And I'm excited about it. I can tell you from my own standpoint, I had focused on Eastern Europe and now having offices literally all over the world, and seeing incredible startups in artificial intelligence, many times women-led startups all over. So, I'm particularly interested in Africa right now. There's over 1 billion people that are underserved, and what we want to do is we want to help them. You can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Gary Fowler. Love to hear from you. And yes, I have, yesterday, by the way, I was talking about Africa and Asia, and talking about startups and the ecosystem there and how we can build it. So we're on top of it literally every day and trying to make a little dent in the universe.
Thank you, Gary. Wendy, to you, closing thoughts, and then also where we go from here in 2021, and where everyone can find you in the organization.
Well, I'm going to first say, yes, Gary, you're so right, because our foundation, we're in 144 countries, but our most impactful and celebrated region is Africa. I've never seen amazing women that are working on stuff. We have a huge initiative now with 14 countries in the agriculture space, all because of these women coming together for Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization and as our ambassadors. So it's really, and some of the women, one owns one of the biggest mining companies in Africa. And when you think about, these women should be recognized and to be celebrated, right? And that's about what we should be doing around the world. And so I'm very super excited. I believe we're going to have unicorns in every space. I feel like, now everybody's investing in women. Give it a few years. I'm personally 100% interested in any, vegan companies. That it's really important to me. And anybody who's in the disability space, please let us know, because we are interested in collaborating with our future initiative that's going to be launching next month. And you can reach me at wendydiamond.com and see all, the funds I'm in and all the investments, and also find out about Women's Entrepreneurship Day, as well as animals, because I'm very invested in the pet space as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And just a quick shout out on that note. I mean, if you're looking to build a company in a space that's underserved, and by underserved and underrepresented, I should say, by founders, the pet space, it is a multiple billion dollar market that is just ripe for disruption. So if you're out there thinking about doing something in pets, definitely reach out to Wendy.
Get my dog.
There you go. Adrian, same question to you. Closing thoughts. Where can you be found online?
I can be found on LinkedIn. That one is my main communication hub. And of course, I'm on other social media sites. As a closing thought, I would say that this is very hard for me to access some resources, is only a blockage in the mind, which has to be removed. Now, if you have access to the internet and to a basic computer, you can do a lot of stuff. And don't be shy. Work on your mindset, because the mindset will be the only thing which will help you to advance. And I will quote Gary, get the sh done.
Get stuff done, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's the common theme here around today's panel. There is opportunity aplenty. There is resources aplenty now here in 2021 than there ever has been. It's on to you. And if you feel like you can't do it, you want to talk to somebody, you want a little bit of support, either watch VCTV, shameless plug everywhere, check out all of us, but also reach out. Gary and Wendy and Adrian have all mentioned this. This is a great time to reach out. Cold or warm introductions, it doesn't matter. Reach out to individuals and ask for help, ask for guidance, and ask for feedback, rather than asking for a check first. This is the time to do it and open up a whole new world for each and every one of you. So Adrian, Wendy, Gary, thank you very much for all the thoughts and insights today. And to your audience, so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click subscribe, share the episode, and check out the archive on LaToken.com to hear more from Wendy, Adrian, and Gary as well. And if you'd like to be on a show, do reach out to the team and or myself. We'll find that right spot for you. Speaking of the team, a big thank you to the LaToken team, to Maria and Hasmik for making today's VCTV episode possible. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me along with all of our guests everywhere online, 24/7, 365 on all social media. With that, we'll be back here with more VCTV after a short break. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye.